everybody. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and I know you're all here for another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. Now, before we get started, I need you to do three things. One, if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, please subscribe right now. Hit that button down below. Second thing is, make sure you comment after the show, because that really helps us out. And, you know, when you do that, then other people see it. But that's neither here nor there. Third thing is, please share this. Let people know we're here. Let people know that we have another amazing guest on this evening, and we are here for the best show on YouTube for cybersecurity, that being Security Happy Hour. Now, if you hang with me for about 10 seconds, I promise we'll be right back. Little hiccup with the video there. I mean, my StreamYard's being a little ghetto right now and not working too well. So bear with me, because Jason, you're not showing on camera, and it could be my end, not yours. So just be aware.
All right.
But anywho, so yes, Jason Rojas, who was on last year, is here with me this evening. And like I said, I see camera stationary down below. It could be me. It could be StreamYard. Who knows? I was having issues with StreamYard earlier trying to get it to reload. So hopefully it's just, you know, StreamYard being StreamYard. Otherwise, I got an amazing show planned. Jason, how you been, man? It's been a hot minute since I have had you on. We had your better half on last week, so you know you got to kind of like bring the heat this week.
I got to come with some fire. Yeah. No, she came on and brought the newbie energy. That's for sure.
Definitely. And it was an amazing show, and we've had a lot of good conversations. You know, over the past, I don't know, I've been doing this for like 3-4 years. I don't even know anymore. I quit counting. But it's been crazy. And in chat, please, on YouTube, on Twitch, wherever you're watching this at, if you're having issues with the video, please let me know, because I do see the icon up above me that says my connection is bad. So it's very possible if we're having issues. Hopefully you're all following along, though, even if there's a delay. But with that, it's been a year, about a year. And talking to Sarah last week, she said it was our episode that kind of gave her that little extra push to get into cybersecurity. So I'm kind of interested in your, you know, how you, you know, how you're approaching that, and also, you know, kind of where you're at now. And even Owned on YouTube is saying you're coming in with no video, so it could be a StreamYard issue, but who knows?
Well, you know, like you said, I mean, it's been a year. I've been, you know, doing a bunch of different. I've been trying to do a bunch of different things. I mean, I've been at the data center now, for 3 years going on, and it's been great. You know, she's seen me progress, go from being help desk at a big multi-billion-dollar company in Uptown and here in Charlotte, and then, you know, kind of transition back into the data center, and the whole time really liking the data center life, right? So it definitely has shown her, you know, just the fun, the passion, just the, you know, the attack and go get it kind of attitude that comes with it. So, you know, when I come home and tell her, oh God, you know, I did this and that, she's like, well, obviously she's like, well, damn, I want that too, you know? So, you know, it's just trying to bring a positive spin and, you know, really just throw myself into it completely. So it's you know, just trying to be that example.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, when me and you talked last year, you were very positive, very upbeat, very much like this is what you want to do. And, you know, me and you have kept that kind of flow going ever since we met. And so I'm kind of curious, like, what is it? Just your support system at home? Is it the work that you're doing? What keeps you driven with that positive mindset and positive attitude?
Honestly, dude, it's just me. I mean, I love being positive. Like it's, you know, we all have those bad days, right? Where you're like, well, you know, geez, if this dog walks in front of me, I may kick it. But, you know, for the most part, you know, it's just, you wake up, sun shining, you know, you just got to bring that attitude and embrace the day. You know, I've started reading a lot more and kind of getting more into like stoicism and stuff, and just, you know, be present, be mindful, you know, be appreciative of everything you've got. You know, yeah, some days are going to be way better than that. There's some days you're gonna be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go home, reset, and start over. So just know that you got to do your best every day. So you might as well put a positive spin on it and make the best of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna do me a favor, kill your camera for a second, and let's see if we can get your camera working while we're talking.
Okay.
So, when I think about this, and you know me, with most of what I do, I'm usually the same way, right? Like a lot of
Right.
what I try to impress upon people is that positive mindset that you are what you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with negativity, you're gonna bleed negativity. Like that's just it, you are this energy that you surround and give off. And so,
There we
understanding
go. There we go.
how that works and things. Um, do you think that's helped you kind of keep a level head getting into the career field and breaking into, deeper and deeper into IT and cybersecurity as you've been working towards?
No, absolutely, absolutely. You gotta keep a level head. You gotta remember, there's those days, especially for me. You gotta remember, okay, I'm still new. I'm still trying to make my way. Wade through the little pools here and there. So you gotta build on those foundations. You can't just say, hey, I'm gonna go in and you know jump right in. I'm gonna start being a sysadmin. It's not gonna work out. So you gotta humble yourself and be sure that you're taking the right steps.
Yeah. And I saw a post today and on LinkedIn, and it was very valid. And a lot of people don't love that new house. Nice manifesting background. Love you, Sarah. A lot of people don't realize that though we talk about the numerous ways you can break into this industry, and yes, you can come from like yourself and Sarah, kind of getting in from massage therapy and things like that. Um, you know, it's not always guaranteed, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's still not an entry level job necessarily. Like cybersecurity itself, though we have entry level roles, there's still a lot of foundational understanding and even if it's personal experience, a lot of experience that comes into it, whether it's building your own labs or, you know, working in some type of IT, like as a side job, whatever the case may be, there's still some level of knowledge that has to get your foot in the door. Do you find that being in a data center now, right? And I'm sure that didn't come easy, that getting that first job in a data center and doing that work. Do you find that that's helping you delve deeper into the career field and kind of do your migration more into the cybersecurity side of things?
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I don't think I'd be where I am without being in the data center. I mean, doing all the physical stuff, racking and stacking, just being in cable hell, as they say some days, and tracing this and making new cables to be the appropriate length, and then crash carting and then having somebody walk you through things. And like the other day, with the company that I'm with now, I'm kind of doing a little more, and I'm trying to, what the hell? I'm trying to get further along, and it's coming. Like I was having to help provision with a new server and a new setup that we're doing, and I had to go through Google Foo to find the right commands, and then I talked to my direct supervisor. He's like, no, you do this, this, and this, and I was like, great, cool. So yeah, you find those entry levels, but you also you gotta get those foundations, because yeah, you can't just jump in and think, hey, I can bring the experience I already have in life and that translate, because it won't.
I mean, some of it does. Some of it will. And I've talked to people like Alyssa Miller and so many other people where your experiences with like customer service or numbers or whatever can translate, but ultimately that technical side of things doesn't always translate over. We're looking
No.
at there's two entry level jobs, and I'm sure there's more, but two entry level jobs that I talk about in cybersecurity a lot of GRC
Mm-hmm.
and analyst, being like a SOC analyst or something like that.
Right.
But even with that, right, you still have to have an understanding of the regulations of the technology of certain things. And it doesn't have to be in depth. But if you can't tell me that, how to get to an event log viewer or
Right.
how to get, if these logs come over, what do they look like? If you don't know how to correlate that data and correlate that information because you have no clue what a firewall is and what ingress egress is or something like that, it makes it very, very difficult and you're not going to get hired. If I ask you what port 443 is and you can't tell me, I'm sorry, I can't hire you for an entry-level role. And this goes back to even when I got out of the Army, I interviewed with Cisco Talos. I interviewed with their red team that did all the research. Like, that was all R&D. That's literally their whole job was R&D to implement roles into Snort and things like that to find the IOCs. Right. And when I did that interview, I was like, I'm not getting this job. Like, I knew it outright. And because during the interview process and understanding more of what they did, I was like, I'm not qualified for this. Had they offered it to me, I was retiring. Yep, I'm one of those people. Yep, I'll do it because I know I'm going to learn on the job and figure it out. But I knew I wasn't getting offered that. And so when they called me shortly after the interview and they were like, hey, you're just not up to par. I was like, yo, I ain't even mad. After the questions they ask and the stuff they do, dude, my hat's off to you. You guys know more than I'll ever know, probably. Nope, you're good. Keep it. It ain't for me.
Right. No, and I can definitely understand that too. Like with the guys in my company, some of the things they do. I mean, some of the things that they like. My direct supervisor, I don't know how that man keeps everything straight in his head. I want to be him when I grow up. I mean, I don't want to do all the networking and all the stuff he does, but
whiteboard.
No, he doesn't have whiteboard, and he's got the white boy. I don't know what it is, but dude, that dude will come back later. He's like, oh yeah, I remember it was in the chat 3 weeks ago. Are you seriously? You remember that? But all the guys.
True story with that though. So Jack here said, at least you got the interview. And I know for a lot of people, that's an issue, getting that interview. How I got that interview? I saw a post on LinkedIn about, and it was like a beer tap. And it said, in this office, you get beer if you can hack the beer tap. I said, yo, but hold up. You got beer on tap. All I got to do is hack it. What do I got to do?
Right.
And I talked to them. That's how it literally, I didn't even apply. It was a conversation with the recruiter that was advertising, this job. This is why networking is so important. You right now, Jason, dealing with your supervisor and the people that are dealing with stuff with you and your coworkers and stuff like that. This is how we network, because now you're learning more, right? You're stepping up. You're like, okay, cool. Teach me this. Teach me that. I'll do my research. I'll do my Google Foo. And I'll tell you what I came up with. But if you have more tribal knowledge and a better answer, then cool, provide it. Because Google Foo will provide you the book answer, but not necessarily the right answer.
Well, it won't give you that real world, hey, I've done this. I actually saw this 3 different times in 3 different ways, and I've figured out this is how you actually do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And networking, forging those relationships, making those connections really definitely makes a difference. Like meeting all the people that I have, through working at the data center. Like if it came to it where I actually get further along and finally figure out, okay, I'm now in the cloud, I'm doing this, I'm doing security for that, I could go to one of the other cloud providers and be like, hey, so I've done this, here's the little GitHub repository of the projects I've done, what do you think? It just takes that, like you said, it takes that confidence, it takes getting in the door, and it takes getting your hands dirty, getting under the hood and learning.
Definitely. And that's a big thing. And we got a question from Sarah here, and I'll get to you in a second, Sarah. But with that whole realm of things, though, if you were to go work for a company and they were purely Azure, or hybrid, right? So on-prem and Azure. But then went and applied for a company that was AWS or GCP. It's not, though fundamentally it's the same, you will not get paid the same or offered the same level as someone who actually has that AWS or GCP experience. Because foundationally, though, the concepts may be the same, the way you do things, the terminology, just everything about it is different. And I know
absolutely.
because I've had to live in AWS and Azure, and I despise the way they do things. Like with AWS, I want to say you have accounts, but your accounts aren't how you log in. Your accounts are like actual accounts.
Right.
They're the equivalent almost of subscriptions within Azure.
Oh,
So
no.
like all this stuff is different. I'm like, it took me a while to understand that. Although fundamentally, they're virtual machines, they're cloud, you have a shared security model, like all that stuff is the same. What they do, how they do it, and how it's implemented, all that stuff is different completely.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Oh,
AWS
absolutely.
does not have a baked in, capable at a certain license level SIM, like Sentinel. They don't have a baked in EDR. They have a cloud security. So Defender for Cloud versus whatever Azure's is. Yeah, they have, or AWS's is. They have
Right.
different cloud compliance and security
Right.
tools, but it's not baked into the operating system like Defender is.
Right.
So there's just these different things that you have to understand. And people don't get
Oh,
that.
no.
They're like, oh, I know cloud or I know AWS. So do you know Azure? Well,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Right. Right. It's like three different versions of the same color, right? I mean, I'm going through my Azure right now. I've tried AWS, and I mean, like you said, it's so much more like the S3, and then you have the snowball and the snow cone and the fucking snowman and the goddamn truck. What? Why?
Dude, the worst thing I've seen, and again, this is not a knock against AWS. It's just the way
Right.
they do business and the way they've implemented their system. They are still a cloud. They still operate fundamentally the same way Azure does. But their, I don't want to say SIM, but their security module, and I can't remember what the hell it's called. But instead of it on an overview showing like host names for your virtual machines or your
Right.
networks,
Right.
it shows all of the AWS IDs. So you have to drill down or write code and parse through JSON to actually
Right.
pull the information. And I'm
Right.
like, this is, dude, I can go into
It's not
Sentinel and see host names for my machines and what's causing issues.
Right. It's not
But I
intuitive.
can't do that through their security tool.
Right. It just takes, it just takes finding what you want to do, where you're comfortable
Yeah.
at, and what's gonna be the most beneficial. Like you said, I mean, they're all three very similar. I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, right? But it just depends on what you're gonna do.
Yep.
So like for me, learning all the Azure stuff again, like I actually took it about a year ago, which the wife is gonna be pissed about, and I only missed it by 5 points. And my downfall,
and that's always rough, man. That's rough.
I mean, I felt really good. I was like, I'm not even mad. 5 points is 5 points. I mean, that's 2 questions. I would have got 3-4 questions. I would have been fine. But I stopped and I went towards AWS because I talked to a technician who'd come in. He's like, oh yeah, Azure's dead. And I'm looking now, 3 months, 4 months ago, like, you know what? Azure is in 95% of Fortune 500 companies. What was I doing? If I would have stuck with it and gotten it, I would be a little further along, maybe working on a security side of Azure, doing, some sort of sysadmin. Who knows? But, you got to go, and that's part of the new beginnings. You got to go through those processes. But as long as you stay focused and you stay like tuned into the process of what you're actually ultimately going for, it doesn't matter how you get there.
And you can equate that to somebody who's like going through college and switches majors.
Right.
Because when you switch majors, now you got to relearn certain things or go through, and now you're in college longer if you didn't switch your majors early enough. Like if you're past your gen ed are working on your actual major, and then like, I don't like this. Let me move over here. Like, okay, now I got to pay more money just to learn, that major. So it's just really difficult because, again, we talk new beginnings. Cybersecurity, when you get into it, is a new beginning for everybody. And I don't care where you come from, the mindset is completely different because now you can no longer think from, I need to make the blinky lights blink, to I need to make sure that those blinky lights stay on, and not just functionally, but securely.
Oh, absolutely.
And so your mindset has to shift. And so I think if you take that mindset of understanding that I now need to go from a functional aspect to a securely functional aspect, it makes it a lot easier. But to your point, switching from one provider to another and your learning is so difficult because now the terminology has changed. The way it operates has changed.
Right.
And even, and I'll be honest, doing anything with Microsoft, even if you were to stick with Azure, you would have lost your mind halfway through the year when they were like, hey, this is no longer Azure AD. We're going to call it Entra ID.
Right.
Oh, and this is no longer Defender. It's now Defender for Endpoint and Defender for Identity and Defender for Office. And like, dude, please, can we keep it simple? Just treat me like I'm a Marine, please. Like, write in crayon. I don't know, just something. it's one of those things that Azure just goes, Microsoft does. They rename, rescheme, redo everything, and I'm just like, dude, can you stop? Can you please stop?
Right. The wheel's turning. No need to keep putting more, knobs on it to make it sound worse.
Yeah, like Azure AD, like that's what it was.
Why do you gotta call it Entra? Entra what?
Now it's Entra ID. It's not even AD. It's not even considered Active Directory anymore. It is now ID.
Okay, great.
It's crazy.
You needed to church it up and dress it up into a new dress. Great, cool, whatever. It's still an Active Directory.
You can't put lipstick on a pig and make it look pretty. Azure is Azure. Like, I'm sorry. It is what it is. The cloud is the cloud. It's convoluted. It's confusing at times, but we figure it out. We make it work, and we secure it. And ultimately, Azure and AWS are going to be the biggest things. No, they have not changed. You're right, Owned. They have not changed the name of their hybrid tool, AD Connect. It is still Active Directory Connect is what it's called. But I do want to get the question from Sarah, the first one at least.
Oh.
What is it that makes you want to go Azure, and how does this route fit the career plan you have for your career? Oh, she calling you out, Jason. She said, "Let's go."
Well, we'll let the newbie throw the glove down. I'll tell you. I've seen Azure, in action when I was with Epic, when I was doing the MSP stuff. You find what works and you find what you feel you can be the best at. So I thought Azure, it's very intuitive, it's very straightforward. Yeah, you can go into different directions while you're in it, but it's very straightforward. Like you said, AWS you can get lost. I mean, learning that there was so many modules, there was so many different things, and I mean the well architected pillars of dear God, I got stacks of paper this thick on the bookshelf back there, somewhere by the piano. I don't know, but
somewhere by the piano.
But I like Azure. Like when I was with the big company, it was really easy. It was fun, and that's the thing for me is that as long as I get enjoyment out of it, and as long as it's to use her term, giving me fulfillment, I'm gonna pursue it. Like being in the data center now, I still love it. I still enjoy it. It's a little taxing on the knees and the old back, but I still enjoy doing it.
Well, this is what happens when you've been around since the
since Hector was a pup. That's right.
Look, your first car was a T-Rex. Like, we know this, so
Bro,
it
my
happens.
feet still hurt from the brakes.
But nah, man, like, and you're not wrong, right? Finding your fulfillment and enjoyment, and that's really what a career should be, because you should not. And I've done this a few times, and what I found out, and I think Jason, me and you may have talked about it on a previous episode, and I know I've talked about it before, but I used to hate certain jobs I did. Whether it was in the Army at certain duty stations, or even out of the Army, there were just certain jobs that were mentally, physically, and emotionally taxing, to where when I came home, I did not want to deal with family. Like, I was done. I was yelling. I was always angry. I was always depressed. I was like, this sucks. I hate life. I hate everything. And so I think this goes back to a little bit about why I won't chase money.
Right.
Not to say I don't appreciate more money and won't take the opportunity if the job aligns with what I'm looking for, but I don't chase money because the grass isn't always greener.
Right.
And when you do chase money, you end up in those situations, especially with a family,
Right.
where now you're not there for the family. Now you're so pissed off, and you get home, you become an alcoholic, a drug addict, or whatever. You basically are escaping the pain because you no longer want to deal with the bullshit that you're going to have to wake up and deal with the next day.
Absolutely.
And I think that when you find that love of what you do, and you continue to delve into it and get more with it, and do more, and start learning and growing within it, the passion, the enjoyment, just everything shines through, and you yourself become a better person.
No, totally agree. 100% agree. I've been actually doing a lot more like personal development. Like I watch these motivational videos on YouTube.
Some
David
of them
Goggins.
better have been mine, damn it.
They are. I'm still waiting for my walk with me's, but what
Dude,
can I do?
I know. I did 50 episodes. I got to come back out with them. I just haven't done it. Maybe
well,
when summer
winter, so it's been winter. Nobody wants to be outside, especially in PA. So I
so bad in PA right now.
Sympathize. I remember how it used to be in Colorado. I would not want to be outside. Little shards of glass hitting you in the face. That's not okay. But I've been watching David Goggins and listening to a lot of different people, right? Like I started listening to this guy Eric Thomas, who is the hip hop preacher, and he's like he's the most sought after public speaker in the country right now. And the dude is, he's got some legitimate points. So I've been
can someone get me to be a motivational speaker? Like, someone pay me to go talk somewhere and motivate. I got this.
You can do this. You just got to find the right crowd and the right people to get people pumped up.
Right. That's all I need.
We can get you going. We can get you going. But it's all about, like you said, it's all about finding what you want to do and having, we'll get into the why, like finding your why. Like you said, money is money. Like I told Sarah, I can always make money. Mm-hmm. If I'm chasing money, it's not going to mean anything. But if you find your purpose, then it's going to change how you see money, So for me, like I've recognized that. And now when I look at jobs and when she sends me jobs, I'm like, yeah, that's great. It's, 75, 80K. That's great. But, I'm not going to jump just because, what if it's not the right fit? What if it's not going to give me that fulfillment or, what I'm actually looking for in the next role?
So you said something there, and Sarah, of course, has to be Sarah, and says, "What is your why?" We'll get to that.
Yeah.
About purpose. Now, society has changed, and I'll say that everybody knows that. When you have, it's no longer the men work and the women stay home. Women have more and more have gone into different career fields and broken through, shattered glass ceilings, done all that. Like, in kudos, like I've got no problem with that. Do you feel that there is still a genetic DNA, how we were brought up, like generational issue where some women are doing it to just get out. Like, I want to work because I want to work, not necessarily with a purpose in mind. Because as a man and someone raised this way, I have to have purpose in my life. I have to have meaning. I have to be working towards a goal and trying to accomplish something. Versus, women were for years and decades and everything stay-at-home mom, right? That was their purpose, was to raise kids and have a family and da-da-da. And we've seen that shift. Again, nothing wrong with it. Just, I think there still may be this delineation where men get depressed and get upset and get frustrated and angry when they no longer have a purpose. Look at a lot of your veterans that have retired and now no longer have that mission driving them.
I mean, with that, everybody should have a purpose. It shouldn't just be man, male or female.
It shouldn't. I'm just saying it based on, do you feel women are trying? And again, I'm trying to understand. Do you feel women are more willing to chase money? Again, men do, because men are supposed to provide, right? But do you feel right now, being that women are still, and again, we're still in this generational divide, trying to break away from women being stay-at-home moms all the time, where women want to feel like they're bringing money into the household or have to bring money in, right? So there's a difference between want to and have to.
Right.
You feel women are men still find purpose in their careers based on, I got to be the rock. I want to do something that I love, but still bring in and provide for my family. Whereas a woman is it's more of a, I don't want to say selfish thing, but more about, I have to proclaim my independence. And so it's a different way of thinking when you get into the career field. And again, I'm just spitballing here, trying to figure out like why we have some of the issues we have, because purpose is a big factor behind why people get into certain careers.
No, and I definitely understand. I think I understand what you're saying. I think what's happened over the last two almost 3 generations is we have kind of taken women and shown them, okay, look, you need to be strong for yourself. You can't depend on a man. And also, we've also, kind of castrated men to be a certain way. Like you have to, defer and let, you need to be taken care of. You're the man. Oh, you should do this, that, and the other. No, don't be so masculine, right? Especially in the last 15 years. Don't be so this, don't be so that. So women have kind of taken that boss babe mentality and have, brought it up to the next level, because, okay, I can't depend on this. I can't depend on that. I'm sorry to say, the thing where women will say is, oh, this guy ain't shit. These men aren't shit. Well, messing with ain't shit motherfuckers is what the problem is, so women are now seeing, look, if I want something, I'm going to go get it. This is my purpose. I got to take care of me. And if he wants to come with me, fantastic. Like, I'm all for Sarah having her career.
And this is where partnerships come in, right? This is truly where I think relationships are built. And again, it doesn't have to be sexual. It doesn't have to be like an actual relationship, like marriage or anything. But these foundations with people and humanity are that you don't, again, this goes back to what I said in the beginning. You are what you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with people that want to build each other up, that want to push each other forward, that want to do more, men, women, it doesn't matter. I don't care. The fact is, if that is your goal in life, is to do better, be better, then that's where you're going to get to if you surround yourself with the same crowd. If you surround yourself, like you said, and we'll put it bluntly, with ain't shit motherfuckers, men or women, it doesn't matter. If your whole goal in life is to go to the club every night, blow all your money, not have a house, bitch about rent and everything else, then guess what? You're going to be an ain't shit motherfucker too.
Right.
Male or female, does not matter. That's what you are.
Right. And then still wonder why you ain't got nothing, why this, that, why your life hasn't changed, change comes from within. You want change. I've told Sarah from day one, change is a violent, messy thing. That's why nobody does it. It's why nobody does it. And like you know, when it comes down to it, you want to be the change that you see in the world. I was on a work trip in Chicago, that headshot that I sent you, and I was on my way back. And I'm at O'Hare, and there's this woman sitting next to me and her mom in a wheelchair, and you know, we start chatting it up, and all of a sudden, she's seeing like some little kerfuffle going on over at her gate, and she's like, "Man, I hope they're not changing my flight again, changing my gate." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's hope they aren't." I see a few people talk. You know, long story short, they change her gate, and she's sitting there like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do? Now I gotta drag my ass across the airport at O'Hare with my mom," and I'm sitting there like, "Okay, where's the gate? Let's go." What? No, yeah, absolutely. Are you sure? Lady, I got 4 hours. Please kill time for me. Please. Let me go.
Give me a reason to burn time. I've been there, dude.
You know,
just on my last flight back from Charlotte. I've been there.
It was a completely selfless thing that if I were to tell Sarah, God, I just let her, you know, drag her ass, she would have been mad at me. If I would have done it, I thought about it. What if that was my mom who's had 2 knee replacements? What if it was my dad? How would I feel? You know, and when I walked her over there, she's, "No, God." And her mom was so sweet. I'm pushing the cart, and she tells her daughter, Elaine, get $10. I'm not taking that. Yes, you are. Yes, ma'am.
Dude, look, I've said this. You don't mess with your elders. When they say something, you do it.
Well, at least while you're Italian too. I mean, shit, I didn't want to come back like this, you know.
Right? But like, so there's a lot of chat about change right now because we talked about you mentioned it, and yes, everybody hates change. I don't care what anybody says, anybody tells you. You can blame it on one thing or the other, but everybody hates change. We like our routines. We like being able to do things, and you may be sporadic at times, but when things have to change, and I mean change drastically,
right,
it flusters everybody, and people get pissed off and angry and upset and every other emotion on their side. Now, some people can thrive in change. Mm-hmm. This is where people in the military learn to adapt, because that is literally what you were taught, is to adapt and overcome. You know what? I'm expecting shit to go sideways, so we're just going to carry on with the mission and do what we need to do. You know, as long as the mission doesn't change. Now, when that changes, that changes everything. So that's when you're like, come on. But as long as the mission is the same, how you get there can change time and time again, and you just learn how to adapt and overcome. Absolutely. And I think that's what we as a society need to get used to, is things are going to change. The only thing, look, people used to say death and taxes are the only 2 things guaranteed in life. I had a third thing to that, and that's change, because you're going to go from a baby to a toddler to a kid to a teenager to an adult. Your life is going to change all throughout your life and what you expected.
Absolutely.
The economy is going to change. The inflation rate, whatever, it's all going to change. There's nothing guaranteed in life. So I hope you got your big boy or girl pants on and you're ready for that change, because it's going to happen, and you may hate it, but you have to roll with it. And if you're in this industry, if you're in cybersecurity, you're trying to get into cybersecurity, be ready to change all the time, because whether it's technology, naming schemes, whatever, it's going to change. Nothing's ever going to stay stagnant.
Well, and do you really want something to stay the same to where it's predictable and it's completely like, okay, well, this is now just a squeaky organ grinder just going through it? I mean, yeah, that's great. Comfort is a killer. You want different. You have to be uncomfortable.
Complacency and low pay, go for it. But that's not me.
Right. But being comfortable is good and a bad thing. It's a good thing when, you know, you're sitting at home watching a movie. It's a bad thing when you've been in a job for 17 years and you're like, well, I know my job and I'm comfortable.
Well, and here we got to look at it too, and this is where we're going to flip things on its head, right? So I've talked about loyalty. Anybody who knows me knows I'm loyal to my family. I'm loyal to my friends. I'm loyal to my warriors. Like, if you come to me with any problem, I will do what I can to help you out. I'm real big on loyalty. I will never be loyal to a company. And I don't care who sees this, who watches this. I'm not loyal to companies. I'm loyal to people. A company will replace you in a second because they've got a bottom line to meet and they've got to make their money. I don't blame them. I understand the business side of things. I don't blame you.
Absolutely.
But I will be loyal to people.
Absolutely.
And so there's no such thing in a lot of industries as a pension anymore.
No, God.
You
That
go to
went
a
away with
company, every company I work at is like, put into your 401k, put
right.
into this, da 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 da. But it is never, hey, as an organization, we're going to pay you when you retire. So you're counting on, and a lot of companies right now are doing inflation raises or cost of living raises, which these days doesn't even meet the inflation rate. So fuck
God,
it.
no.
It's not even a
Right.
raise. You're just not
Right.
even allowing me to balance my books. So if you're doing a cost of living raise, and it's only honestly, I've never seen anything go above maybe 6 or 7% as far as an annual increase. So with that being the case, why would I be loyal to somebody who's not going to value my time and even give me an increase at the inflation rate?
Right.
Like, you're not even allowing me to break even right now.
Right.
And so I think that when we get to a point of complacency, you may be happy where you're at. You may be happy with what you're doing. But are they going to pay your retirement? Are they going to support your family come hell or high water when shit hits the fan?
Right.
I will all but guarantee no.
Oh no.
Which means you be
Absolutely.
loyal to the job you want to do, the people who are going to pay you, the people. Again, not the company, because
Right.
people leave companies. And if you get the opportunity to do something you want to do for more money, sorry, if it's what you want to do, homie, there's a door.
No,
And I don't care
absolutely.
what company doesn't like that. I don't care if you're a fucking CEO watching this shit. I don't care. If you're not going to pay people on an annual basis and give them 10, 15, $20,000 more, or even $5,000, $7,000 more a year, and you're just like, oh,
Right.
you're gonna get $200 more in your paycheck every 2 weeks. What's that gonna do somebody? Little to nothing.
That doesn't even pay the insurance. That doesn't even pay the
You
car
know,
insurance. That doesn't even pay for the braces that are $800 that you got to pay for. That I'm with you. Find what you want to do. Be loyal to the
and
right
this is
people.
why not only do you have to have loyalty to people, but you have to love what you do. But again, like you said, like I said, complacency will kill you, because when the time comes for you to retire, what are you retiring on?
Right. I definitely, that's like I said, that's part of the change that I've started to implement in like my own thinking. Like I was on I was on the motorcycle the other morning, and I was thinking about my dad and my mom, and it actually, after hearing all these different speakers and motivationalists and motivators, whatever, I was like, okay, they're right. Who am I doing this for? What is my why? My why now isn't just about me. It's been about taking care of the family and stuff, but now I have to make sure that I can take care of my parents, because my dad shouldn't have to work at 72 driving 4 hours round trip in and out of LA on top of doing all the driving he does. I have to set myself up to be able to take care of my familial obligations, my family, my people. So that's my why. That's why I'm doing it. And I'm going to find that. I'm going to find that position.
And that's what
It'll
it's about.
absolutely. It'll all work out in the end, but for now it's that grind, it's that hustle, it's that, okay, I got to get this, I got to do this, I got to, it's going to suck, but you know what? I'm getting up every day. I'm motivated, I'm dedicated, and I'm going to go kill the day.
I had a conversation when I drove Uber. I used to drive Uber because she almost said the name out loud. I don't know if they're still going to hold me to that. I don't know. Maybe. Apparently, I'm not allowed to talk about them. But there was one or two organizations that I worked for that didn't pay me enough to make ends meet. So I drove Uber for a hot minute. And I talked to a lot of college students, because growing up in Pittsburgh and knowing the area and being back in, I was in Blairsville and stuff like that, a bunch of colleges around, drove a bunch of college students. And this gets back to your why. I talked to a lot of students, and I always asked them what they were going to college for. And my reasoning was, more. It was beyond just the conversational aspect of it. A lot of it came down to like they were worried about how they were going to make money and what they were going to do. And one of my common themes is, and people hate this. I'm sorry, society as a whole, especially your older generations, hate this. Do what you love, and money will come.
Absolutely.
Do what you love, and money will come. Because if you have that mindset of you are going to be the best at what you do, somebody will buy it from you.
Absolutely.
Whether it's art, music, cybersecurity, breaking into shit, being in IT, going and being a lawyer, whatever your profession you choose to do, put enough passion, put enough heart into it, and love what you do, and money will come.
Mm-hmm.
Now, saying that, eventually it'll still turn into work. And you're still going to want to move up and do different things. Because I'm sorry, you can do what you love, but the moment it becomes a job, doing it after hours is nope, I'm going to my couch and I'm out.
I can get with that. Like I'm still so new, and I still enjoy it. Like even if you, God, I would put in 10, 12-hour days if I could. Like I still like doing it. Like, I like being on the computer, like, like going in and looking at stuff and tell me, give me a project that I can do, set IPs, recalibrate this, re-provision that, commission, whatever. Let me go learn. I enjoy the work. I enjoy learning. I enjoy just being useful and part of something.
Yeah, and dude, I don't blame you. I did the same thing when I was in the Guard. One of the best instructors I ever had, and mind you, I had one of the best trainers in the Guard that I ever could have had. My NCOIC at that time was amazing. But one of my best trainers, and even though he was still my trainer, I had a better one, and I loved them both. That they were both amazing. But my server admin, our sysadmin, was phenomenal. Why? Because she didn't give me answers. And again, when you talk about don't judge a book by its cover, this is still at a time you're going back to 04.
Oh gosh.
05 time frame where we are making leaps and bounds and strides for women in IT and cybersecurity. But back then, it was still like, holy shit. My NCOI, our sysadmin, our server admin was an E7, I believe. I believe she was a senior master sergeant. And every time I go to her, because she had so much tribal knowledge, so intelligent, knew her shit, everything. Hey, so, Sergeant, I'm having this issue. Did you look it up? Did you Google it? Have you done anything? Nah, if you
right.
know the answer.
Come in my office
I do know the answer. Go do your work. Shit. Like,
yes,
so when I look at these things, she was spot on right. Like, it taught me so much. And again, this is why I have loyalty to people, because people like that leave that impression, that teach you something.
Absolutely.
That whatever you're doing, I loved what I was doing there. I had so many people that would call me specifically on the help desk. If somebody else answered, they'd be like, yo, put Airman Scheller on the phone. Yo, what you need? All right, I got you, homie. Click.
Right.
And I'd be there at their desk fixing their shit. Because for me, I loved it. And I still to this day love helping people. I still to this day love fixing problems. I just don't want to do it after 5 o'clock.
I mean, I definitely get with that. That's for sure. But doing our own
so long,
thing,
you just after 5 o'clock, you're like, yo, I got 5 kids and a wife. I got
right. I got another job I got to go to. I ain't getting paid for it. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a saying that I really like using a lot, and it's a rolling stone gathers no moss, right? As long as you keep moving, as long as you keep like growing and just not staying still, that's what life is all about. Even my dad, I mean, once you're done learning, you're dead. If you don't have nothing else to learn, go find something to learn.
So So what we're gonna do, all right, for the remainder of this time. So you going on the big screen, homie? Because for the
Okay.
remainder of this time, I'm gonna have my boy Devin in the back pop up these questions, and
Rapid
they're all
fire.
from your wife. Just
Why are
gonna
they all
say
from
they're all
her?
from
She
your wife.
lives in
So
my
I
house.
hope you're ready to answer these for the crowd because Sarah gave us some good questions. I'll put up the first one, Devin. You got the show after that. Why did you decide to go to Azure over AWS when you studied both?
Oh, why did I decide to go to Azure? Because I honestly, I when I moved to AWS, I was doing it more for the money. Azure was already the one that I was kind of focused on and the first avenue of going towards that direction. So, you know, I felt that sense of urgency to earn a better living to provide for the family. So that's why I decided to go to AWS. And, you know, in the time that I've been doing it, I realized that, you know, that was obviously the wrong motivation. So that's why I decided to do Azure over AWS. Isn't that the same question? Have I found my purpose in my transition IT? Yeah, actually I have. I definitely have found that it gives me that gratification of, you know, finding something out and learning something new and being able to be a part of a team where I can be counted on to do certain things. So yeah, I like that. It definitely makes it bridges that gap for me being an athlete and being a basketball player to be part of a team. So I definitely have found my purpose.
All right, so we got that. We got that. Last question from Sarah. Has this new beginning been fulfilling for you? Do you have any regrets, and has your career path changed?
Oh, this entire new
That's a
beginning is.
lot.
I mean, dude, like I said, she lives in my house. She could ask me these damn things. I mean, she didn't have to come on the show.
But look, I love it because now you got to answer for the audience,
Right.
and
No.
you're giving a perspective that
Perfect.
you know they may not know.
Perfect. No, I mean, it has been fulfilling. It definitely has shown me that, you know, you can change. You can go from, in my case, being a massage therapist for 20 years and find something else that you can be good at and really be happy with. You know, I love being in the data center. I love being, you know, the guy boots on the ground, as they say. You'll definitely relate to that one. Do I have any regrets? I don't. I have things I've learned along the way. You can't have regrets. And as far as the career path, somewhat, yes. I mean, getting into Azure, I definitely want to do that, and I definitely would like to get into the AI space with Azure. So, you know, learning that would definitely be, I think, my next move as far as, you know, the career path. So, you know, once you get into that area, you can definitely learn security things. Even doing the foundational stuff with Azure now, I'm definitely learning security things that can, you know, lead into the next phase. So,
Yo, if I get a
we're
junior Azure
moving.
role, I'll let you know.
Dude,
Um,
I will definitely
but
take you up on it, and I will definitely.
you touched on something there that is very important to me. And yes, there are serious mistakes in life people can make that can land them in jail or what have you. One of my sayings is don't regret anything in life. Two reasons. One, at one point or another, it is something you actually wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Two, take it as a learning experience. Should you have done it?
Right.
Probably not. Or
Right.
maybe you should have. But
Right.
either way, as long as you learn and grow from it, that's what's important. Because we all make mistakes in life. There's no such thing as, you know, not being able to come up and do more and do better as long as you're willing to learn and grow. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you grew up on the streets. I don't care if you grew up wherever.
Right.
You have the ability, at least in this country, at least in America, to truly step your game up. And you may have to prove that you're better than other people. And I get it. Some people got it harder than others, whatever the case may be. You may have to prove your mettle.
Right.
But it doesn't make it impossible. It's only impossible if you give up. It's only impossible if you quit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, my favorite, my basketball player, the guy that I really like admire is Kobe, the Mamba mentality. And, he said the way that he puts failure is it's not a failure. It's just more information on how to succeed.
Do you know what fail stands for?
No.
First attempt in learning.
There it is. If you fail a bunch of times, great. It's like Edison. He figured out 1,000 ways how not to make the light bulb.
Right? That's all it is. You figured out what not to do.
Right? Took that one. Call it luck.
You look at how things are and how things can be. And when you're looking at your life, and I get it, everybody's different. Everybody has a different upbringing. Everybody has a different background. And that's what I love about this industry is you really can have people of all walks of life to provide a different way of looking at things.
Absolutely.
And so I will frequently reach out to people and be like, hey, look, this is my thought process. Do you agree, disagree? Like, where are we at on this? Like, I need some help. Like,
right.
I think I'm right, but I could be wrong. Somebody tell me I'm wrong, please.
Right.
And so
perspective is a great thing, no matter where you get it.
Dude, you can get it from anywhere. And what I think we are so afraid of in this industry is being told that we're wrong.
Right.
So many people get caught up on being wrong and be like, oh, I was wrong. Or, no, I'm not wrong. Yeah, you are. No, I'm not. And they get so defensive.
Well, it takes a certain amount of strength to say, God, you know what? I'm sorry. I was wrong. It takes a certain amount of strength to actually admit your fault. And I think that's another big thing in this country. And even generationally, people don't admit, God, you know what? I'm sorry. That was my bad. I was wrong. I was an ass.
Yo, you know how often growing up, my bad came out of my mouth?
Right.
My bad, homie.
Right.
That was me.
No, dude,
that was all me.
Here, I got
it.
I got 5 on it. I'm sorry. That was me. Hell, even now,
but
47. I'll say it to my wife. I'll say it to the kids. Begrudgingly, I'll say it to the kids. But at work, God, I'm sorry. That was my bad. If you don't have the strength to say, you know what, I dropped the ball.
Look, I begrudgingly say it to my wife half the time because I'm like, I really don't want to admit I was wrong here, but I definitely was.
She's gonna hang that shingle right above my head.
Because my kids left the door open, I now have a parrot.
God.
But yeah, yeah, he's a big furball. Right now, he's got his butt in your face. But
I love that.
I do. I look at things and I think there's a lot of changes. So we're coming up to the top of the hour. So I want you,
yes,
with your new beginnings mindset, because you're breaking in more and more into cybersecurity now after working in a data center for so long. Give some advice to the newcomers trying to break into the industry and those that have already broken in but are within their first year.
Okay. The biggest thing I can tell you is learn your foundational stuff. Be good at the little things. Definitely take the time to ask the right questions too. There's no wrong question. Everybody says it. The only bad question is the one you don't ask. So, take the time to get out of your own way, get rid of that ego and say, hey, do you have a second? Can you talk this out? And for the ones that are still, making their way and finding it, try different things. Even if it's just like a Udemy course, check it out. Watch it on YouTube. I mean, gosh, there's so many different people on YouTube. Network Chuck, we're not plugging anybody, but that guy Chuck with the big ass beard.
Network Chuck, InfoSec Pat. Who else?
Programming with Mosh.
Yeah, there's Day Cyber Walks, I think it is.
Right.
So many.
I mean,
So many.
there's a lot
Google search.
right. There's a lot of people you can learn from. Find it. I mean, cybersecurity, I've heard countless times. There's 100 different ways to break into cybersecurity. It doesn't just have to be red team, blue team, purple team, polka dots. You could be, like you said, you can be GRC. I mean, I was listening to Gerald Auger and just taking in information. I even told my dad, get into GRC, take this guy's course.
That's what my dad did. My dad's in GRC. Textual. All right, Space Tacos added 2 more. Textual Chatter, Dave Bumble, actually 3 more now. 2 Cyber Chicks. Damn it, Space Tacos. but yeah,
not to get Neil Bridges.
So many ways to learn and grow and come up in this industry. And I will say this, and this will be my final words before we go off air. And please hang around, Jason. You know the deal.
Yes, sir.
But there is no one way into this industry. No one path, no one size meets all. However, if you do not have it within you to utilize some of the free resources out there, grow yourself and do things on your own, you will not make it. It will not happen.
100%.
You can hate me all you want. You can tell me I'm wrong. But please come and tell me why I'm wrong.
Right. No, absolutely.
Because I will tell you right now, this is cybersecurity is not one of those fields you graduate high school and are like, yeah, I want to go flip burgers or I want to go be a SOC analyst. Without the foundational knowledge of what operating systems and networking and things like this are. And I'm talking, I'm not even talking CISP level instead. Give me half an inch, mile wide. And that is how you enter. As if you don't know what you want to do, that's how you really break in, by being able to answer some of the most simple questions in this industry.
100%. I fully agree.
So
fully agree.
Other than that, I love you all. You're all my warriors. You're all my family. You know how we do around here. Do not hesitate to share this video, like, comment, subscribe down below. And I will see you all next week with another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour.
Happy Easter, y'all.